Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 128. 128 of the WP Cafe Show, the show where we share our real, unfiltered experience of running our WordPress business, High Rise Digital. I'm Mark Wilkinson, and as always, I'm joined by my colleague, Keith Devon. Today, we're going to be diving into a couple of things. To be honest, not a great deal to talk about today. We always say that, and we end up ranting on for about 45 minutes. So we'll see how far we get to today and the topics that we've got. We're going to be looking at demonstrating the block editor on a sales call that we had. Some interesting questions came in, good to discuss. And then Keith's going to give you a bit of an update on his AI business coach, just to see how that's been going on, which will be interesting. As always, it'd be great if you could subscribe to the channel. If you could like the video, that would be superb, or share it even better with someone that you think might find it interesting. You can follow us on X. We are WP Cafe Show, and we are also on Blue Sky and the web at wpcafe.show. So, before we get started, as always, how has your week been, Keith? What have you been up to?
Lots of different bits and bobs. We had a really good, well, it's one of our main topics. We had a really good call with a prospective client this week, which we'll come to. Bit of RecPressy stuff, and then lots of thinking about marketing and sales and the business as a whole, and experimenting with a few things with AI, and just feeling a little bit dejected about it at the minute. I go through peaks and troughs of like, I can do all this cool stuff, and then this is for AI specifically, and then I get into it, and they just get into this kind of like weird rabbit hole that doesn't really lead where you're hoping it would lead. And as always, the initial kind of stuff that you get back is really like, wow, that was amazing. And then like the more you try to fine tune it and get it to something actually useful, the more I struggle. So yeah, it's been a kind of frustrating week, but again, we'll come to that. It's another topic. And then I'm going camping this weekend, so looking forward to that. Last little camping trip. It's glorious here today. I think it's the last summer's just doing its little last hurrah before it disappears. So we decided to do a last minute camping trip. So we're going up to the woods to a place I've been a few times, which I really love. And I'm really looking forward to that.
Very cool. So, is the weather going to be good?
What about you? What's that?
Is the weather going to be good for you?
Good tonight, decent tomorrow, and slightly worse on Sunday. It'll be probably cold Saturday night. It'll be nice this evening and tonight. But colder Saturday night. Cool. Yeah. Good. How about yourself? Good. How's your week been?
Yeah, quiet week really for me. As I said last week, I think much going on, but a lot of it's your stuff, isn't it, at the moment, which seems to be. So I've been helping out with support as I usually do, getting people sorted. Sold a few products, which was nice, on a few sales calls, and I've been getting those set up and done. So that was always good. And been doing a little bit to the Job Relay product, because I had one customer again who was struggling to post. They had lots and lots of jobs in the feed, and it was kind of like, wasn't breaking it, but it was very inefficient. So I've just been looking into sort of how I can do that again. I've talked about this before with like background processes and queues and things, and just trying to like think about the best way of doing it, which is not easy, and it's not easy to actually implement it as well. But anyway, I've been thinking about that. So that was my week and what we've been up to. So hey ho. So let's dive in. As always, if you're joining us live on YouTube, then thank you very much. I can see that we've got Joe with us. Hi there, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Hopefully you'll enjoy today's topic. I don't wonder which one, but thanks for joining us. And if you are joining us live, please do say hello in the chat. It's nice to see who's here, so we can get an idea. But anyway, so we had a sales call this week. It was actually the second sales call we had with the client. The first one was just kind of the introductions and what they want to do. And then what we wanted to do in this call, and what they wanted actually, was to demonstrate what we'd actually be able to deliver for them in terms of how they would be editing the website. Essentially, the block editor. How do they create content using a block editor? And the reason why we introduced that as something we wanted to demo is because everyone's experience of WordPress is extremely different. So people might come in and think WordPress is Elementor because that's all they've ever used, you know, or they think it's Divi because that's all they've ever used. And actually, when you're saying to them that those things are not actually WordPress out of the box, they kind of, not they don't believe you, but they've never seen what WordPress is. So it was a good opportunity to say, look, this is how we build websites. This is the sort of experience that you'll be getting with us, because a lot of them are coming to us because they don't like what they've got, essentially, or they want to improve it. And it's been nice to actually demonstrate that. So we had a call, and you did a really good demo. Do you want to just talk about what you did and what we showed them and what sort of things we demonstrated?
I thought that went pretty well, actually. I was pleased. I was pleased with that. It's worth saying as well that I don't think that this particular organization was on WordPress before. So it's not just that we're demoing that we can give you a better WordPress experience. It's that we can give you a better experience, full stop, compared to like the web platform you were on previously. So I think that's kind of what's also important. But yeah, so I actually had a checklist from a previous demo we did for another prospective client, and I found that checklist. I thought, I wonder if that's going to work. I was like, yeah, it'll work. So we had a site that we've built for a client previously, and I just showed them some of the basics, you know. I didn't dwell, like I wasn't teaching them how to use the block editor, so I was moving fast, and I said that I should have probably made that a bit more clear right at the start. Like I'm gonna go really fast because this is what it's going to be like for you once you get good at it, kind of thing. But I wanted to show them just the basic concept of blocks, so adding paragraphs and headings and images, and then wrapping them in a group, and then looking at like different block settings that you have for like different types of blocks, like you know, font sizes and text formatting, margins, paddings, background colors, things like that. So just all the basics, but the basics that get you a really long way. So I kind of showed all that, and then I showed, and it was interesting because I think at this point someone in the call interjected with, that looks great, but do we have to do that every time? And I was like, okay, cool. Because my next thing was about to show them some patterns to make that whole process a lot quicker and a lot easier and a lot more consistent. So I was like, well, I'm glad you asked. And then I showed them like, well, here's the kind of hero pattern that we built that they put at the top of all their pages. And here's the kind of intro section pattern that we built that includes like the kind of the page contextual navigation on the left, and they're like, oh, cool, right, yeah. And then you could just tell that they kind of, from that point on, they're kind of like, yeah, this is good. And then they asked some good questions as well. Yeah,
I think
about like good patterns and templates and things, and
the flow of how it went, like you said, because it was, and actually very much because the questions they asked sort of like were the right questions at the right time, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
We sort of structured it into sort of like, here's the block editor, look at all the control you can have. And then they're like, oh, that's amazing. You know, we can do all this stuff ourselves. Then we kind of introduced, but hang on a minute, you probably want to be careful with that control. So what do we do to prevent you doing that? Well, we do, you know, padding sizes, margin sizes, steps, not pixels. Same with fonts. Yeah. We give you the fonts, we give you the color palette. So you're choosing from your color palette. So we introduce those sorts of things that allow you to keep on brand. And then they kind of like ears pricked up a bit on that. It's like, that's interesting. And then obviously someone was rightly said, you know, well, we don't want to do all this every time. So then you can introduce patterns. Well, you can build up patterns of these things to make dropping these things on your pages really easy and consistent. So it worked really well. And the questions that they actually asked us at the right times made it really flow nicely. But one of the people on the call asked a really, really good question, I thought. And so we ended up talking about templates as well, because I think one of the questions was, how do I change the footer of the website?
In current system.
They were saying the current one is really difficult to change the footer and things like that. So we showed them how to change the footer in the templates in the site editor. And then one of the questions that she asked was, what's the difference between a template and a pattern? And I had like no preparation on this. So I was really struggling to answer the difference between a template and a pattern. And I just think it'd be good to actually have a prepared answer for that. I can't remember what I actually said. I think it was a template is all of the content that you see on a page. No, I didn't say that. What did I say? Because I'm struggling now to explain it to you. I mean, exactly. I know what it is, but I'm struggling to explain it. So it'd be interesting to see what you guys listening think the best answer to that would be. We got across to them and they understood, which was good. But it just goes to show that people ask questions that you don't really think about preparing for.
And questions that like you would like assume that you would just be able to answer that, no problem. But then you start to try to put the words together. It's like, actually,
if you just said to me like off the cuff, would you be able to tell me the difference between a template and a pattern? But yeah, no problem. But when you actually start thinking about how to explain that to someone, it's actually quite difficult.
Showing or explaining examples. So like a single blog post, you might want the structure of that to look a certain way with maybe a sidebar and a hero section or like whatever. Then that's going to look very different to the blog page itself or your homepage or a contact page template potentially, or things like that. But even that gets into kind of murky territory, because the difference between a homepage and a contact page might not be a template at all. They might just be both blank templates that you add your patterns to. So even that is murky, isn't it? So
it's actually difficult. That I almost find myself thinking, well, I can probably get by explaining that to you. And I think we just showed them some examples in the site editor, like this is what the template looks like for the blog, and this is where your content gets injected for the actual blog post that you're writing. But I almost found, well, I really need to go back out here and talk to you about the whole concept of WordPress before I can actually explain the real difference between templates and patterns. You need to kind of know everything, which they didn't want to know, obviously. But
what about
it just was an interesting question.
A predefined layout for a particular type of content on your website, or a particular
is that not a pattern page?
A predefined full page layout,
right? That could be a pattern as well.
Content type. What's that?
It could be a pattern as well. But
well, in theory, in practice, it could be. Yeah,
I know.
I guess they kind of are in a way behind the scenes, I would imagine. But
yeah. So it's a good question and interesting to think. And they did ask some other good questions as well. I think the other thing is worth mentioning is we delivered this demo because when the customer first came to us, the pain point was obvious in the editing experience of their site. Making changes, updating things was a real pain for them. And that was one of the primary reasons why they, or certainly to us, it seems that's one of the primary reasons why they want to look into building a new website.
Yeah.
So obviously, if a client came to you and said, I'm not interested in editing my site, and you might still use WordPress to build it because that's what you're used to, but you wouldn't have any benefit in going and showing them all this stuff because they're just not interested. But this client was definitely really interested in how pages are edited, making sure that experience was as good as possible. So it was really valuable to be able to show them what they get. It's all very well saying, oh, we build excellent experiences and we make it easy to edit your pages. Everyone says that. So if you get an opportunity to demonstrate just at a very high level what you can actually do for them, I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, and we've done it a couple of times, and you can see that it resonates with people. I think people are genuinely impressed with the block editor and the site editor compared to most other things that they've seen before. So, if you're not using that as part of your sales process, I would highly recommend it.
I would as well. Joe says, it's hard to answer, I think this was templates versus patterns, as I think Gutenberg has fudged the lines between post content and overall site. Yeah, I would agree. Understanding the difference fully, I think, requires a certain technical understanding. I would also agree. I think to fully understand patterns, you need to understand the technicalities behind them and how they're different technically. But yeah, so that's why the question was hard, because the answers I wanted to give were too technical. I needed to give an answer that wasn't technical, which makes it difficult.
You can maybe describe it for what it isn't. So like a pattern is something that you can add to potentially any page on the website. You don't add templates to pages. Patterns sit within templates. Blocks sit within patterns. So that's maybe explain the hierarchy or something.
A template controls multiple pages. The look and feel of multiple pages or types of pages. I don't know, but that's sort of thing. Yeah, but so it was a good demo. Hopefully they'll come back to us. They've got some thinking to do, haven't they? And then they've got some design decisions to make as well, which they're looking into some different concepts and things. So, fingers crossed they'll come back to us and we'll be able to give them something, or certainly a proposal that they like. We'll see.
Yeah,
but it's good. Seem really nice people. Could definitely work with them, which is good.
Absolutely.
So, if you have any questions on that, any comments, let us know in the comments. That'd be good. How was your AI business coaching updates been, Keith? What have you been up to? I know you started something last week, asking it for coaching ideas and things. Have you progressed with that at all this week? And what have you got to?
I didn't really go too much further down the coaching angle. It was, like I think I was saying last week, it was getting quite frustrating. It kept trying to push me into much more actionable stuff rather than kind of just top level thinking, which is what I was trying to get it to do. But I'd like to try it again, actually. I'd like to try the whole exercise again and really think through the prompts at the start and really try to give it some rules to work by. But anyway, but one of the things that I think it did make me realize is that I really do think that our RecPress product is the one where there's potentially the most growth available to us. Mostly because any website that's running a job board could potentially benefit from using it. So, like, just as a quick explainer, RecPress is essentially, it's not really like a plugin as a product. It's not a bit of software. It's a service where we install, configure, design, and support a job board on someone's WordPress website.
I think that undersells it slightly. I know what you mean, but it does do stuff as well. It's
no, of course it does.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it doesn't do anything. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, the technically, it's not like Job Relay.
No, I know what you mean.
It's a bit like Job Relay. It's not a bit of software that we just sell and it has docs, and we use third-party software as part of the service that we provide.
Correct.
I think is what I'm trying to get at.
But it does come with a piece of software and like tying all these things together that does a lot of things.
Yes, there is a RecPress plugin.
Yes.
Yeah, that does some cool stuff. But essentially, it can be installed on any WordPress site that you want to run a job board on, and it's currently based on WP Job Manager. We thought a little while ago about potentially rolling our own solution. We haven't kind of done that. I think we got a long way down the line. You did a lot of work, actually, and we never kind of fully implemented that. It's something maybe to look at again. But essentially, apparently there's like 40,000 odd recruitment agencies in the UK at any one time. About 40% of them are running WordPress. I don't know how many of them already have a job board, but there's a massive potential market here, and our only sales pipeline at the minute is through Job Relay, which is great. And I can't remember what the percentage is, but we convert about 10% of all Job Relay inquiries into RecPress sales or something like that. But
it's probably more than that, because
it means we don't anywhere nearly touch the potential market that's out there. So I've been so instead of kind of staying on a high level doing business coaching type stuff, I was drilling down into like, well, how the hell are we going to market this? And it's something that we've tried before and failed at before. We've spent thousands of pounds before on Google, ads and stuff that got absolutely nowhere, and that was with some paid help. And I'm just thinking again, how are we going to do this? And I was using ChatGPT to try to come up with some ideas, and email was one, and it was coming up with email templates that I could potentially use. And I was like, well, who am I going to email? How am I going to find them? And then again, ChatGPT was coming up with all these ideas. And it was quite, it's such a fascinating tool, because it was able to generate lists of recruitment websites in the UK that use specific plugins. So we know that a lot of our clients use Bullhorn as a CRM. and a lot of the people that use that use just like an embedded job board, so it's just a bit of JavaScript that runs, and it's not indexable, and it's a bit crap, really. And I thought it'd be cool to target all them, and then suddenly ChatGPT is like, here's 30 recruitment agencies that I can see that plugin is installed. I'm like, really? And then yeah, right enough. It gives me the URLs of each of them, and I can see the job board. I was like, okay, fair enough. So you did that quickly, ChatGPT. Can you give me another? Like, can you give me 100? And then it just really doesn't want to do that. It's funny, and it's like, yeah, sure. And it's like starts generating. Here's the next 10. I'm like, okay. Can I have 100? And it's like, sure, no problems. Here's the next 10. Would you like that in a CSV? Would you like it this? Would you like me to do this next? I'm like, I'd like the 100, please.
I'd like to
and
do
you
what
know
I
it has the capabilities to do it. That's one of the things I don't get about ChatGPT. Is like, are there some kind of interesting internal throttles around like web requests and the amount of kind of work that it's prepared to do on any one query? Because you can imagine there should be, because you could ask it to do some pretty crazy stuff otherwise.
Yeah, but you would have thought if you're on a paid plan, that would be a lot higher than 10. You would imagine. Well, but
yeah,
don't know.
So yeah, and so eventually I was like, okay, ChatGPT, this, we're not getting very far. Can you help me build basically some kind of like tool that will go and do this for me? And it's like, yeah, sure, of course I can. And right enough, like, it was pretty impressive what it came up with next. So it gave me a Python script, and I had to like, what the hell do I do with this? But like, eventually, it gave me like a zip file of all these files, which I just like unzipped, ran a few commands in the terminal, off it went. I had to sign up for like a free tier of some search results kind of API, which I did. Put my license key in, and it goes and it starts doing it, and there I go. I've got a CSV, and there's like 30 entries in it. I was like, what is going on? And I tried to kind of then start improving that tool, and I got into a mess. I think if I'd been using something like Cursor, I could have got a lot further. But because I was just doing ChatGPT and then like copy and pasting that code into my Python file, it wasn't a very good process at all. I just got a bit stuck in it, and the results, it was never returning very many results, and so I didn't get very far.
When I'm working with ChatGPT with code, so you start asking it something, don't you? And it'll generate some code, and then you'll ask it something else, which may be a tweak or a change or an enhancement, and then you keep doing that. And at some point, you want to say, right, let's go back to this step, what we did here. And there's no way of easily doing that, is there?
Yes.
So you almost want it to sort of like call each bit like step 1, step 2. So you could just say to it, let's go back to step 3, what we had there, and then work. So like forget all the rest that you've done. Back to step 3.
That's what I love about Cursor.
And then do this.
So that's one of the reasons I might go back to using something like Cursor, because lets you do that. So you get something that works, and then you keep going, and eventually you break it, and it's like, oh right, we're getting lost here. Let's go back to that point, and there's literally just a button saying like revert to this stage in the conversation. And all your code goes back to that, and the conversation goes back to that point. And I'm like, yes, that's really good.
That's what you need, I think. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because otherwise you do kind of, because I'm not version controlling it, because I'm trying to be like quick. I don't want to be like committing things every time and stuff. So,
so obviously you're using ChatGPT to essentially provide you with a list of leads.
Yeah,
that's what it sounds like, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what's the plan with the leads?
Well, the plan was to cold email.
Yep.
And so how many have I got? I actually did manage to get my tool to return 100.
Cool.
It's interesting that it's exactly 100. It's interesting that they're kind of A to Z. I mean, I've started going through the sites, and they are genuine sites. This time I was looking for WP Job Manager.
I was going to say that'd be better to do, wouldn't it?
Instead of the Bullhorn one, because it's a much more natural kind of upgrade. Because if you're using the Bullhorn one, it means they're using Bullhorn. And because they're using Bullhorn, they might not want to use RecPress because they'll need something that connects the two. Whereas if you're using WP Job Manager out of the box, what we deliver is much better than WP Job Manager out of the box. So it's like it's a much easier upsell. So I've got 100 websites. I was going to go through them, try to grab a contact email address or something, send them an email, which obviously ChatGPT will help me to write. Again, it wasn't very interestingly. I didn't feel like it was very good at writing those emails, so I asked it to write me a cold email, essentially selling RecPress to someone that has WP Job Manager, and it was just a bit meh. I was like, that's not going to work. Like, and it was all like, "Hi, I'm Keith from such and such. We, I want to introduce RecPress, which does X, Y, and Z, free for a chat." And I was just like, I've been that. And like all the little tricks that you hear about, like add some personalization, sell benefits, not features, all these little things, like there was none of that. And I was like, maybe it's right. And like, you don't actually need all that stuff. Or maybe it's just what ChatGPT is, which is an aggregator of stuff. And it's actually not giving me the best practice.
Doesn't work. I get so many emails.
I think it does.
That says, "Hi, Mark, we've seen your work at High Rise Digital and it looks really good, particularly your work on such and such a case study that they obviously seen." It's like, great. Like, does that? I know you haven't looked at it. I know it's just automated. Like, it's pointless. I'm not interested.
It's hooked me in before. It's worked on me before. Like, just to get me like, it when done in a certain way. You're completely right. If it looks super automated, but I've had the odd email where I've been like, "Oh, okay."
We'll go back to those emails.
I just read on, and then you realize that it is just a mass cold email. But
is there anything like better than an email just saying essentially, "I want to sell you RecPress"? For example, I think we chatted about this very briefly earlier this week. Is it better to sort of like offer a webinar that's like how to make your job board better? And essentially the webinar is talking through what RecPress would do, but then you can obviously buy it at the end because it just does everything for you.
Yeah.
Would that be more beneficial?
Yeah. Or
should it include a video of you talking about RecPress, demonstrating RecPress? Should it be, we were job board experts for WordPress. We realized you're using Job Manager. Would you like a 15-minute free consultation about any product? I don't know, just something like that instead. And obviously, as part of that, the call, you will talk about the products that we have. Do people think that's more powerful than sending an email, or is that?
It sounds better to me.
Does it matter?
Those all sound better to me. But again, how many emails have you had about sign up for this webinar or sign up for this free demo or free no sales consultation call that you've just binned? It's so hard.
What about the free consultation call then? Because if that, I don't know, maybe I wouldn't do it. But if that landed in my inbox,
they think it's going to be a sleazy sales call. It's going to be all slick, and we're going to talk them through it. It doesn't have to be sleazy.
No, well, is it? I'm just thinking, if you were a WordPress recruitment agency using WordPress and you were using Job Manager, and I don't know, I'm going to pick something. I can't get the search to work on my site. And someone landed in your inbox and said, "Oh, I see that you're using Job Manager. We're offering free 15-minute consultations to try and help you." Maybe you would jump on? I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't.
Maybe.
Just because it's an email that lands in my inbox. But
one of the problems that I raised to chat was it was talking about, we see that you have WP Job Manager installed. And I was like, I'm sending this probably to a recruitment agency owner that has never heard of WP Job Manager. And they're going to be like, "No, I don't. My site's a WordPress site."
Yeah.
So it's really tricky. I mean,
So is it worth just saying, we've had a look at your website and we can see the software that's being used to power it. We are experts in that software.
Yeah.
So you're not telling them what it is because they don't care. Like you said, they don't know. You're just saying that we know what's running and we're really good at it.
Yeah, maybe. I was talking to my friend this morning about this, and I have a real problem with sales disguised as something else, or like marketing disguised as something else. And what I mean by that is like, do you know, like we've both tried it before. You probably more so than me. Is like, right, I'm gonna try to like grow an audience on LinkedIn. I'm gonna put content out regularly, and then hopefully, one day something will come back, and or you set up like, you start sending out emails, some kind of like newsletter, and then 1 in 5 of them is a kind of cold action kind of sales pitch. And I'm just like, it all just seems so cynical. Like, it's like, I'm not putting content out here because I've got something useful to say. I'm putting content out here because I'm trying to fake it so that you, I don't know, buy my stuff. And I just want to be like super, just like, I've got something to sell. Here it is. Look at it if you want. Like old fashioned advertising, I think. Do you know what I mean? Just like, I just want to run an advert somewhere that, like in a trade magazine, and hope for the best. I don't want to have to go through all the
dance of sales,
all the faking, like because ChatGPT came up with some advice, and it was like, oh yeah, find forums on Reddit and etc. where people like recruiters are talking and offer good advice, and then you'll build up your. I'm like, it's bullshit. Like, most of the stuff that they're talking about is going to be completely irrelevant to websites. I'm not going to have any expertise. I'm just going to be adding noise, so hoping that someone kind of sees me, and just like, I'm not really adding any real value. If I felt like I was adding real value to people, like they actually want this stuff, then it would be different. But I don't know. So just something doesn't feel good about it. Part of me just wants to take out an advert in something and hope for the best, put a QR code on it or something. I don't know. Stop all the rubbish around it.
Yeah. It's difficult, isn't
it?
I
don't want to build a personal brand to sell some software that, runs on your website. It's like,
I think, like you said to me earlier this week, I just think, like, just do something. And if it doesn't work, do something else. And if it doesn't work, do something else. But let's not sit there and do nothing. So try it, try an email. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
If nothing happens for that, let's try something different. But we can only but try, can't we?
I've got 100 emails here. So what's the success criteria? If I reckon if we got one sale out of 100 emails, you're actually doing quite well.
I would think you're doing massively well.
Yeah.
I would probably say you'll struggle to get a sale from 1,000 emails. But
yeah. At which point, if we only think that there's, I don't know, 16,000 recruitment agencies in the UK, and you're only getting one out of 1,000, you're not going to get, even if you can email every single one of them, you're not going to get an awful lot of clients, are you?
No, but yeah, I think, no, you're not. And I think that's why maybe this strategy is, I don't want to say the wrong one, because you said you might send 100 emails and you get 2, so you don't know that. But like, I keep getting the same email in my inbox, which is like and it's like, hi, my name is Rachel, and I am the founder of the Dog Collar something or other. I bet everyone's gone because they'll be going around. But obviously, their strategy is just send this as many people as you can.
Yeah.
And a tiny percentage will buy. But if I send 3 million emails, I might get 3 people that buy it, in which case that's fine. But that's like a generic product. Like, lots of people have a dog. If you send it to a person, there's a good chance they'll have a dog. Whereas this is very niche. It's very niche. Yeah. I mean, you could argue it isn't, because you're only sending it to the people that have what you're trying to sell, if that makes sense. Or make better.
Well, and that's better. That's better marketing, isn't it? The more kind of targeted that you can be, the better. Like, even in the example you gave with a dog collar, like, are they potentially better advertising that on Instagram with people that are interested in dogs? Probably.
I don't know. Yeah,
be more expensive, but it's that kind of thing too. It's tricky. I think that there's a part of me. We actually talked about this, didn't we? Because we were talking about getting on some recruitment podcasts.
Yeah.
There's a part of me that just has fear around putting myself out there to fail. I think.
But then you're no different than where you are now, so.
No, except with just some public shaming. which is like my deepest fear, you know what I mean? So
I see.
I don't like doing things publicly that I think there's a chance that I won't succeed. Yeah. And I think that's holding me back.
Yeah, it's hard.
So I think we should try to sign up for a few podcasts. I did actually fill in someone's
you did, yeah.
form.
Did you get anything back or not?
I have not had anything back from them. So.
It wasn't quite recently. Before, wasn't it? It's recently, yeah. So I think we'll give it a bit further.
Yeah.
I think we'll probably wrap this up, unless anyone's got any burning questions. But we've done 35 minutes and we've chatted about various things. Thank you for those that joined us online on YouTube. This does go out as a podcast as well, if you didn't know. So when we finish, Keith will export the audio and upload it to the WP Cafe Show website, and then you'll be able to grab that in your podcast player. So do have a look at that if you're interested in the audio only version. Easier for me to say. Thanks again for watching. We should be back at the same time next week. Please like, please subscribe, please share, and we'll see you very soon.
Thanks. Bye.